Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming into another video. All right, so it's about 7:15 in the morning, Tuesday, and we got 9 days left before I have to officially be gone. Sheriff's knocking on the door, doing all that good stuff that ultimately displaces people from where they live. That's my reality. How's yours? Now, I woke up this morning not nearly as anxious as I did yesterday morning. I wasn't. I mean, yesterday was a real hardcore attack, and I think that when I look at how the day ended, it ended in a way that made that anxiety look silly as heck. When I finished having my day play itself out, all of that fear, it really didn't play into the day. If I would have adhered to it, it most definitely would have controlled the entire day. But that I did my prayers and ultimately applied what it is I've been working on spiritually against it, mentally against it. Once I saw how the day played out, I realized how irrelevant the fear itself actually was. So that's how I want to start this video. I just want people to know that anxiety, it's an attack. You know what I mean? It's not an anxiety attack, but it's an attack on the spirit, I think, and it's meant to, give you the feeling that you know what's coming when actually you don't have the ability to tell the future. So that's really what I've continued to understand, I guess is what you could say. So this morning I had a little frustration because I'm trying to order my groceries, and it's telling me I have insufficient funds, and I checked the cards and everything is there. The money's there. There's nothing insufficient at all. So I don't know what's going on with Instacart and Vons. To me, it seems like their app is trying to get us to sign up for all of their different credit lines and all types of different crap. And it's like 100 clicks that you have to make just to get the payment to go through. You got to X out all types of different promotions and stuff. So, I think they just got some type of bug in their app or something that's not allowing it to detect the proper funds in people's accounts. I think that's what's happening there, because I triple checked every account. I made sure that the split for the EBT and the regular amount was in both funds. I called my EBT company, the money's there. Checked my bank account, money's there. So I guess they don't want my business and they ain't gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? There's a million places to get food from, and I'm not going to continue to battle with something that's not letting me give them money. So hey, that's what it is. So that's what I just got through dealing with over the last 5 minutes. But before that, I was actually in a good little space of prayer where I was just allowing the Lord to kind of just give me energy that was positive, just listening to positive thoughts, allowing myself to think positive thoughts and praying and all of that. And it was just a good vibe that I woke up with this morning that kind of I intended for it to be the great antithesis to yesterday. And so that's what it is. And of course, then the EBT thing happened after that. So it's like you try to go to some positivity, and then of course there's the enemy there to annoy. So you just gotta deal with that. That's part of the warfare we're in spiritually in life. But I just felt like after that EBT thing happened, I just heard that little voice in my head say, all right, let's turn on the camera, let's get some content going, see what comes out. So that's what I'm doing now, just following the spirit. I've been running on fumes the whole time ever since the court hearing that did not go my way. I kind of just been floating in the spirit. I ain't even been living any other way. You know what I mean? Just constantly praying 24/7, 7 days a week, constantly trying to do what I need to do to honor what I think is righteous, I guess, for myself. So staying away from any type of lust whatsoever. All of that stuff is not being done, nothing. And I think it's given me a bit of clarity. It's not really how my life actually goes most of the time, but when you're in the tough times and you've handled those tough times not so wholly in the past, and it only caused you more pain, you know what I mean? It's one of those situations where I honestly look at myself right now and I really don't have a reason to look at myself with a certain level of anger. You know what I mean? In the past, I was not, ready to embrace myself as in any way, really. It was just a whole lot of anger pointed at me for not doing what I needed to do. But now that I have a better understanding of what I've been dealing with, been going to God, he's been letting me feel good about it. Of course, everything that I've accomplished makes me look at myself different. Everything that I'm working on makes me feel like I have something to share with the world as opposed to how I was feeling before that. And it's just one of those things where I don't really look at myself and say, shame on you for whatever. At this point, it's just like, yo, you're dealing with something, and this is time for you to break out of some comfort zones that don't mean you no good. So that's what it is. Everything that makes me comfortable, the Lord is just reminding me, like, look, we are coming out of what is not right. If you ever seen a movie or any type of show where they have like some type of fun house, but it's really meant to trap whoever's in there and they never want to leave and nobody can convince them to come out, any type of story with that type of scenario, that's kind of what this is. Like, the Lord has let me know, like, Satan's had a hold on me. And even though God has been with me, Satan has been keeping my body in weight and not allowing it to really move or what have you. And I've been kind of allowing him to do that by way of these feelings. And it's time to, and these comfort zones. And it's time for me to wake up to that and come out of that and let the Lord really bring me what he wants me to have. I've been praying certain prayers to just kind of empower not only myself but others. And I think this is the reward. The Lord is helping me break out of the bondage that I've allowed myself to kind of fall into mentally and physically in this house, and just giving me some type of reality outside of this apartment. So that's really what it is. Just kind of allowing him to move my life, as we're sitting here approaching the deadline that, and the likelihood of me being able to find myself a place appears to be not so good. I also understand that he has different opportunities for me that maybe I don't see yet. One of the things that came to mind was the way the Lord works is while you're sleeping, he's moving things around. While you're stressing or while you're working or whatever you do in your life, he is moving things in such a way to position it to be for you or for whomever. Like, he's moving things around so that blessings can come in. He's moving things around so that people can come home. He's moving things around so that all different types of circumstances can manifest. And so what came to mind was, picture one person sitting in their apartment, laying down sleeping. They're having a dream about how they need to help somebody who only has 9 days left in their apartment. Picture somebody else who's sitting in their in an apartment that is supposed to be something they're moving out of soon, and they just got a call telling them that they can move out today. You know what I mean? Picture a landlord having a situation where they just really are in a space where they're kind of ready to get rid of a certain type of person, whoever it is. They just keep seeing the same type of people, and now they're looking for something different. Like, just picture all these different things that are just scenarios that aren't actually real, but an example of certain things that the Lord is doing simultaneously to position you to get what it is you're supposed to have. And that's what the Lord was helping me understand. It's like, this is what's happening while you're stressing. This is what's happening while you're walking in faith, talking to the people about, whatever it is you're talking about to them. This is what's happening while you're living out your day. The Lord, because of your faithfulness, is starting to position whatever needs to be so that you can be firmly in position at the right time with what it is that he has for you. So that's what he wants me to think about when I'm being attacked. Because even though this is not something that I've thought before, the enemy is also in all of those places trying to thwart all of those circumstances. He's trying to put something in that dream that ain't no good. He's trying to make it so that they don't get that apartment they need. He's trying to make it so that those people never leave. All those different things. He's trying to bring some energy so that it fails God's plan upon your life. And so that's what you got to understand. It's going to be something that makes that person want to wake up out of that dream. You know what I mean? It's going to be something. So what we got to understand is that the enemy is working on us as just one phase of trying to kill the plan that the Lord has for us. And if we stay close to God, we can not only detect that enemy, but we can also help ourselves to the energy that welcome the best path. This is why you stay away from revenge and all these different types of energies that ain't no good, because they end up allowing Satan to mess with a couple of those different things that are happening to keep you from getting where you're going and ultimately usher a plan in that's not of God. And so you got to look at all the 6 degrees, 7 degrees of separation that keeps you from getting things, and understand that the Lord is intertwining those people's lives and those people's circumstances, and so is the enemy. And so that's what the importance is of understanding when you get back to seeing the perspective of self, unknown of all these different variables that are either opening up or closing to position itself for you. You got to make sure that your energy's right so that the Lord is not doing all these things in vain, because he moves all these things around and then you change for the worse. Now you got chaos going on with movement that it was meant for you that you're not going to welcome. And it's like now you got all kinds of different things awry in life because of these separations that are caused by prayers that really people don't welcome into their lives after praying them. And so these are the type of things the Lord's helped me understand has made life complicated for him. Because people are falling into traps that aren't even good for them, and they think it's good for them, and they pray for things that are attached to those things, and it makes it look as if God doesn't love them at all because he's not giving them things that they're not supposed to have. I think the understanding is that these degrees of separation need to be fathomable with faith as you live in your perspective without knowing, so that you can welcome the energy possible to allow the Lord to do what it is that he's doing for you. You can't be oblivious to the idea that what you do affects those things. What you do affects the possibility of those things in other people. And most importantly, when you're disobedient to the Lord's timing and what he puts into your heart to do, you're not moving in a direction that allows for him to do what he needs to do for someone else in that way too. You're several degrees of separation for somebody. And when he needs you to move, it will allow for him to open the doors, not only for you, but simultaneously for them and however many other people he's working on in that way. So we got to understand the complexities of the Lord's intentions upon our lives. We got to understand the complexity of the universe's intentions upon our lives. It's that simple. You want to be able to have doors open up for you. You want your prayers to be answered. But just like you have to be in a position for which to receive those blessings, you also have to be in a position from which not to ruin those blessings by way of your intentions and your energy and otherwise a lack of faith. He's going to move things around while you sleep. He's going to move things around while you're running around doing whatever you're doing. He's going to move things around while you're frustrated, while the enemy's attacking you. He's doing his best work on your behalf. And the enemy's attacking you at that moment to keep you from realizing that potential or that reality that the Lord is trying to usher you into. That lack of faith that you have, it's going to send you in the opposite direction just out of sheer doubt. Doubt is equated to a negative, a minus sign, something that's going to take away. You don't want to have nothing to do with that when you're asking the Lord to bring you things. He will align you with what it is you're supposed to have so long as you keep that doubt out. And so that's what he's telling me with 9 days left. I can't see what he's going to do. I can't see what he's moving around. And it may not end with me having what I need at the time that I think I need it. But it will come on time. And this time, he wants me to stay away from things that I've been in that made me feel like I was happy when it didn't lead to any happiness at all. He wants me to stay away from places that shut me off from the blessings that I pray for. He wants to keep me out of mindsets that allow the enemy to get into my head and psych me out of the best energy possible for myself. He wants me to understand that his plan upon my life isn't special. It's that he has a plan for people's lives he wants me to touch, which is ultimately why so much favor comes my way, because of the word that he gave me and the intentions he has upon my life. It's why favor comes. He's moving things around because I got to be at a specific place at a specific time to do a specific thing. So to keep that nugget with you when you're watching people get good luck and good blessings and stuff, to not envy them, because the Lord is moving things around them that you can't see. And while this may look like a positive, he may actually be moving them into a position that maybe will give them adversity. And you may not want the adversity that comes with them. You think about the rise of different people who've fallen and all of the different jealousies that may have came their way that envied their circumstances they were coming up, not knowing that they were going to be falling, not knowing that the Lord was structuring it so that they would have a great loss from which to grow strength from. While you're envying their come up, that come up ain't meant for them to stay up. That come up is meant for them to have a very traumatic fall, and you are envying that without knowing it, thus welcoming the energy that comes with the fall, not necessarily the rise, which isn't really a rise at all. It's just the guise of a rise. So don't be jealous of those who have what it is you see them having, because you don't know what other degrees of separation the Lord is moving around them. You don't know what his plan is for them. You don't know what he's ushering them toward, which is why they're getting so much good luck or bad luck. That's why envy doesn't hold much weight in the eyes of the Lord, because he knows that it holds no understanding. All you see is what they have, as we've talked about before. You don't know what comes with it or what happens if you have it in your position when you walk your path. You know, picture being on a path that has nothing but glass underneath it. Now, see, the thing is, the dude who's walking on that path has steel shoes. His shoes on the bottom of them, they're meant for walking on glass. Yours are not. So you wanting to be on his path ain't going to serve you the same. You're going to walk on that path and your feet are going to be bloody. He's going to walk on that path and he's going to get to where he's going because it's meant for him. You're not meant for that path. So why would you want his path? Why would you want her path? She doesn't have the future that you have. She doesn't have the siblings and the uncles and cousins that are also praying for various things that you're going to be a part of later on. That will make it so that if you walk that path, you're not going to be there for those people. If you walk that path, you're not going to have the mindset you need to be where you need to be to do what it is you need to do. You need your specific path. And most importantly, you need God on that path so he can open up doors for you. Now, you're walking the path of your own, but that path, you keep closing all the doors in. That path, you keep on telling God he can't do for you, or you keep telling God you're going to do what you want to do, or you're going to keep telling God what you want, even though it ain't no good. All these different things are going to welcome the wrong opportunities. Closing them doors on that path you definitely don't know you want, but definitely should want because they're good. And this is what the Lord was telling me yesterday. He was like, or the day before rather, and I'm sure I said this in one of my videos. He said, I can't tell you the future because it ain't meant for you to know what's coming. But that I have a plan for you should be enough for you to be excited about. It's the same thing. It's like you're not going to know. Maybe because of your position in someone else's life as it pertains to their degree of separation from their blessing, it's meant for you not to know whatever so that you can have a certain mindset walking into it. There's so many variables, so many possibilities. And so that's why faith is so necessary. And people tell me God don't exist. It's like, how do you survive? Obviously, there's something exiting your circumference as it pertains to your ability to control what you need, because there's too many variables to keep on top of. You should live in fear at all times. As far as I can tell, if you don't have the God variable, there's no reason to even be here. I don't understand why non-believers are moving about the way they do with the mind that I have. I wouldn't be able to do nothing but stand in the corner and be afraid all day, because I'd be constantly wondering about what's coming my way or what's not. You see how I see all the world that I do? There's no way I could live without the God variable. I wouldn't be able to settle in on anything. So kudos to all of y'all who find a way to do so. I wouldn't even try. And that's what the point is. You got to have something watching your back. There's too many variables in this world. There's too many unknowns. There's too many things that could happen. It's too much wisdom in the God variable to have any hold on anything without it. You talk about wisdom. Things that could lead you into a path that'll preserve your life and others. Things that'll lead you into the path to leading people to better directions, leading them to better circumstances. Learning how to be teachable, just the same. Learning how to be coachable, just the same. Learning when to follow and follow directions, just the same. These things have to do with understanding the God variable. These things have to do with understanding your position on the earth and how playing your position can help the circumstances that he wants to do. People start getting out of position, start getting out of character, start doing all kinds of evil. They start disrupting what the Lord is trying to do, not only in your life, but in all kinds of people's lives. The enemy wants to create chaos so he can close these doors. If you look at what we've been talking about in regards to variables, various different people doing various different things and feeling in various different inspirations that ultimately come together to open a door for you, then you understand why chaos is so problematic. If you understand the God variable in a sense that he can welcome different things into your life by way of moving others' inspiration, you can understand why the enemy's inspiration to their chaos is a deterrent to that. So don't allow the enemy to be an instrument of destruction in your life as it pertains to closing doors and blessings for others and yourself. Because there's many different dualities and different things that are going on simultaneously that can be used. Your good energy can be used, your bad energy can be used, but it's definitely going to blow back on you. He can move things around. The complexities of the enemy's attacks on chaos has been here since the beginning of time. So it's nothing new in 2023. But it would be great if he just had a generation of people that moved in the spirit a bit better. If going forward, we had an understanding of how the enemy works so that we don't engage in that type of stuff. That allows for doors to close, that allows for more difficulty in helping those degrees of separation from reaching people's lives. Gotta let him move you. You got to let him move others. And most importantly, you can't get in the way. And so that's what the Lord has taught me, is I'm sitting up here trying to assess who has in regards to my situation, where they at, who would, that stuff is just, this the wisdom to that. And understand this. The Lord put something in my heart last night when I came home. I was in the shower praying, as I always do after my nice walk and all that good stuff we were doing. And he put something in my heart. He say, your trials, and he's not talking about my specific problem, but he's just talking about any problems, anything you got going on in your life. Sometimes those trials are not actually meant to test you. You're the subject for which has to go through that to see how other people are going to handle that. God is testing them to see if they going to come through, trying to see if they handle you the way that he wants them to handle your situation, if they're supposed to handle it at all. Maybe they do a little too much and that's not right. Maybe they do a little too little and that's not right. Whatever it is. But the point is, you're suffering because they need to come through for somebody who's suffering, not necessarily because you need to learn anything. Not necessarily because there's some grandiose punishment coming your way. Nah, he just want to see if your brother over there gonna do right by you. He just wants you to see who's really in your corner. He just wants you to understand how to detect righteous energy in people instead of welcoming them for the wrong things. Your suffering is to weed out the snakes. In theory, depending on what it is, but that's an example of why you don't allow yourself to crumble in the presence of your circumstance. You think about Job. He was thinking about he ended up giving Job everything back he lost and more. The boy ended his life happy and fruitful. All of the stuff that he was mourning was back in his life. All his people that he didn't have, they were right back. It was like they went on vacation, they all came back. And he stayed understanding that. See, we saw Job lose everything. And we saw Job agonize over not knowing what was coming, meaning that he had to apply faith to the unknown while simultaneously being sad at what it is that's been ripped away from him, which was a comfort zone. A comfort zone that came from God in the first place. All the good things came from him in the first place. So God has a right to take it back. You have a right to feel a way about it. But the Lord has a right to replenish it if he sees fit. Just like he gave it to you the first time, he give it right back. And it'll never leave again, maybe. You know what I mean? But for the purpose of the story of Job, he had to suffer a little bit for a time. And that story stayed in infamy for all time. You see what I'm saying? Just like we said a few days ago. So it's like, your sacrifice ain't just about you. That man's story was about everybody who's ever going to lose anything ever. He had to go through that suffering so that he could be a lesson for all time. All time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't know what the Lord is doing with you. You don't know what he's trying to do around you. You're not going to be privy to that. But if you stay close to him, he will whisper into you ways of allowing you to stay calm while he moves. Just like I've been telling you, he's been inspiring me to stay calm. Remember when I told you, I said that he had me put my hands behind my back and pace back and forth in the bathroom. There was another time where I was sitting up here stressing and he just had me put my hands behind my head, like relax. I let the Lord just guide my spirit because I'm comfortable with my mind letting go, as to where other people have to hold on because they got somebody else trying to watch to see if they're going. You know what I mean? We got to make sure that you're sane. Don't be doing all that. Me, I'm by myself. I'm in the spirit. I'm on the move as it tells me to. And as it does, it gives me good advice. When I don't, it gives me terror. I don't get that advice. So that's what I'm telling you. I allowed the spirit to move me. I've been like this since I was a little kid. And it does suggest ways of helping me understand things that I ain't never heard nothing about. Like these degrees of separation, how the Lord wants to move people and how I need to relax because of it. When he's moving all these people, doing all these different things to open doors for you, and he's telling you to relax, that's because your relaxation also contributes to the various things that he wants to do in those situations. If you're stressing right now and you carry that stress into 2 hours from now, when it's time for you to connect with one of those people on the blessing, your energy ain't going to be right and it ain't going to go right. But that you relax now will parlay you into a domino effect to which your energy will be better later. That will simultaneously allow him to use his timing and all these other different variables that we've discussed to come together to make the perfect mixture for you. But that your energy be off throws everything off. That you be thinking about who didn't do for you throws everything off, because you're not going to present the same way. So thus you're not going to get the same favor in the eyes of whoever you need to present toward. It's just like my sister told me, let your light shine. This is how you do it. By allowing the Lord to relax you, by allowing the truth of every good thing that comes from him comes back to him, and everything that he wants you to have will be yours. These are truths that help you stay true while he's moving variables outside of your control, outside of your understanding, outside of what you know. But that you know him and trust him is a direct line to that path that is unknown. He's the bridge between you and your faith and the possibility of being okay. He's that bridge. So if you sit here and you're saying, God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. Going to him is the right thing to do. Saying, God, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. I'm in a bad space. Going to him is the right space. He will trickle down everything else to not only make you be right for what it is that you need to welcome, but at the same time, when you're not even in the room, he's doing other stuff that'll align so that you can be where you need to be. Now, if you're welcoming punishment and you're doing all types of evil, you do know he works the same way. It works the same way. While you doing all kinds of stuff the worst way, he's moving that around to assure that you fall into this hole that you're supposed to be in for doing what you did. He's moving that person around, making them feel a little more angry so that they can have the wrath to get you. See, that's how the enemy ends up being a part of the Lord's tool. We got to understand that that's how that works. I hate to say it, but I've discovered this. Even though the enemy attacks us, he also can make us sharp around the edges in such a way that when it's time for the wrath to come upon somebody else, one of the dualities, so to speak, of what that wrath can be is that engagement of wrongdoing that someone else is going to do in a minute of weakness that's going to lead to you catching the wrath that comes from the stuff that you're doing. But if you get in tune with the Lord while you acting bad, he can help you realize what you're doing and stop you from actually running toward that wrath, because he don't want you to face the wrath. He wants you to stop what you're doing. The wrath comes from not being obedient. The obedience comes when you turn to God in the midst of doing wrong. I'm doing all kinds of wrong, and for some reason I just say, you know what? I remember what BDF 44 said. God, am I tripping? And he will proceed to let you know what he thinks. And then from there, maybe that wrath, maybe he's moving people around to be more angry. Maybe he tells them to calm down. The dude that's gonna come after you, yeah, he may calm them down. Then people over there mad about this, that, and that. He put a little forgiveness in their heart. Maybe they meet somebody and put a huge smile on their face and keep them from thinking about what the hell you did to them. You see what I'm saying? These are variables that you can't see, that you don't even know exist, that are actually happening because you know they happen when things actually line up. See, we can look at foresight, the past, rather than understand how that actually was the case. Because you can see how certain things lined up if you really think about it. That person moved around for me to be in this position. That person moved around for me to be in this position. That person had a certain feeling and therefore they were inspired to feel this way and they came together to make this happen. It's all in the past. Now, these are models that have already been used to help us understand how things move. So that's why I'm able to apply it to this teaching. You know what I'm saying? I think about how I got this apartment. Well, the person that wanted this apartment beforehand, they were told they can have it, and all of a sudden in the last minute they backed out. At the same time I needed it, therefore I was able to move in. That's how it works. But the Lord also put it in my heart to check my email at the same time. So if I wouldn't have checked my email at the same time that he was doing all this, I would have missed the blessing. All of it. My obedience had to come together. Whatever happened in their variables of life had to come together, and probably a bunch of other stuff that made it so that I could be in this room for 8 years. Struggle. The duality of that was to not only put me in a position to be an ape, also put me in a position to heal from my mom and my ex-girlfriend's circumstances where I wasn't happy about. I was able to heal, cry that out in this house. I was able to discover my art project, start the channel in this house, playlist, all that stuff was done. It started here. And it was sparked by me being obedient to check my email that random morning when I was going through something about as bad as this. I thought I was going to be homeless that same day. And he told me to check my email and I got the blessing I needed. Then from there, all the different things that had to work out for my friend to let me use his truck. His boss had to allow him to use the truck on other situations. Maybe he had to be at work a certain day, so therefore it lined up for me to be able to have the truck. You see what I'm saying? Various things. My friend Retta's brother had a fridge sitting back in his apartment that he didn't use because he didn't throw that fridge away all them other times he thought about throwing that fridge away. It was available for me when I needed it. I had it the whole time I was here up until about 4 months ago when it broke. Like, these are all different variables. You can see how the Lord lined it up. Even before that, my mom made friends with Retta. They had a long friendship. That friendship thus lasted up until a point where I was able to get that help, and thus parlayed me into the fridge, parlayed me to my security license situation. That same lady was the one who suggested how to, she gave me the information on how to get my security license. I got that security license. It transpired a whole 10-year career that gave me friendships, memories, experiences, just overall employment history that was never going to manifest from a choice of my own. She just happened to give me something when I needed it. I didn't have nothing going on, so I did it. And it transpired to all these different things that you're seeing right now. They lined up perfectly in God's order. But what also had to line up? Me. I think about all the different things that he could have did if I would have been in line, especially when I wasn't on God's time, especially when I was thinking about myself, especially when I was sitting in whatever anger, energies, wasting time, engaging in enemies' cultures, playing video games for 6 hours on end, not allowing the Lord to really do much of anything with me. But even then, the game I was playing was a game that would otherwise contribute to the content that I'm making now, because it contributed to my overall basketball knowledge, my basketball understanding. You see what I'm saying? Even when you're doing what you ain't supposed to do, if you're one of his, he can align it so that it fits you. All the time I was wasting time doing video games, it was allowing me to have more to speak about on this channel. Even when I was wasting time, if you're one of God's, you ain't really wasting nothing. If you're true to God, you ain't really far away from what it is his plan is, because his plan is already set. Even if you derail a little bit, he ain't going to take you too far from his plan. Even if you mess up some of these variables, he can still move others around so that you can get what you're supposed to have, but that you'll deserve something different, because your energy can be a thing. He moving you around. All of a sudden there's a variable that maybe someone doesn't come through. Maybe there's a variable that somebody just doesn't reach out. Maybe there's a variable like that, and you start being angry toward them. You start acting like they don't love anything, or you start acting like you don't have any love for them. And all of a sudden, the variable of self starts messing up the blessing. But if you stay close to the God that you love, he'll let you know, hey, don't worry about what they're not doing for you. Just understand that I'm the one that's doing. Well, God told me last night, I'm like, yo, this, and this. I don't know how it's working out. He's like, well, I mean, I'm the one working on it. You're not going to them for anything. You're coming to me for everything. So if they don't do for you, it's because I ain't want them to. Or it's because I did want them to and they weren't obedient. So they got to deal with that. Or if you didn't come through for somebody else, maybe that's why you're going through what you went through. You should open your door to those people. This is real. And so that's what the Lord helps me understand. Like, I'm not doing anything that's not coming my way, especially if my energy is toward the Lord. Nah, it's going to give me exactly what I'm supposed to have, and it's going to keep away everything that has no business being it. And so that's what I want to share with everybody. I didn't get my groceries this morning. The enemy was trying to get me into a space where I start getting frustrated. Maybe I start thinking ain't no money on there, and I just don't check it, and I fall into depression, because that's one of my variables that I usually, one of my traits that I usually have. Something go that bad, I don't check it no more. It's like, what happened? All right, let me turn to something negative. All right, it didn't work out. I'm starting to feel bad. Now let me go into some bad thoughts. Let me turn to lust now. Let me see if the Lord he don't need to be that close, because he ain't give me what I want anyway. So let me just go ahead and do what I want to do to feel better, make me feel better. You got to get stronger. God can make you feel better too, but you ain't gonna choose him, are you? Because it ain't aligned with some physical attraction. It ain't aligned with some type of easy, tangible, future-telling type of energy to where you just get reassured 100% because you know it ain't got nothing to do with God. He's not moving nothing through that. You're closing doors by stepping away from him. You're going to be off timing because you stepped away from him. And you're going to continue to need those things to help supplement what is otherwise no favor. Keep giving me, you find yourself in depression, you start finding yourself with addiction. All of those things stem from a lack of faith. At some point, you just have to realize he didn't want you to react to the negativity. He wanted you to stand and wait while he bring positivity to you. The negativity was a distraction. That wasn't even about him. That wasn't about you. It wasn't even for you. It wasn't from him. It was only meant to make it so that you close the door on him while you're asking him to move things around. And somebody needs to be able to articulate that to us, because obviously there are entities in place that want us to ignore that variable. Spin the block. Do all types of other stuff. Put money first. All you got to do is listen to everything I just said for the last 35 minutes, and you know that stuff is going to hurt you. You know your ambition is going to make it so that if you're not engaging in the right energy, you're going to be closing doors on people that he's going to have to punish you for doing. You know that at this point he has all types of plans that he can do from all types of different circumstances. And you just have to stay and wait close to him so you can be moving in his direction so that all of the different things he wants to do can happen through you. You will not be a deterrent to not only your own path, but anybody's. And then you will have the favor of the Lord that can be undeniable. Then you get the clarity of mind for comfort during your most difficult times. Bereavement, all these different things. When things go wrong, you have the strength. You have the faith. You understand all the variables that the Lord can move around based on what it is that you've already understood. Your pain, all of that, temporary. He got the healing for that. He got the cure for that. Going through the worst possible circumstances, keep your energy right. He will make it so that you will endure your circumstance with a smile on your face and happiness in your heart. And you will open doors for other people, and you will see miracles work out, and you will be pleased to see them because that was what will manifest from your love. It won't just be somebody else getting something. He will allow you to draw strength from seeing it happen. Things that you ain't even care about in the past will warm your heart and make you feel better. Take away your depression. It'll be harder for those thoughts to enter your heart once you let the Lord in. I'm living proof. I'm telling you, I'm going through it. These last 6 days, I've seen that go down. Thoughts that have plagued my mind for all of my life have had no dominion in my head. The Lord has intercepted thoughts in my head before I've even been able to finish sentences of negativity. I'm telling you, this is the truth. This ain't going, nope. Man, where'd it, nope. That's exactly how this is going. Man, I don't think, nope. Like it's that quick. He don't even let me finish the thought. I've never experienced that in my 38 years of life until about 7 days ago, where he just keeps caging things off. All these negative thoughts that are supposed to keep me from understanding what it is that he wants me to do, they don't hold much weight. But my intentions toward the solution and the cognizance of those problems being real, because I'm pointed at God, he doesn't direct me away from the solutions. He brings me toward them with more confidence to face them than I would have if I wouldn't have gone to him. He's not going to deter you from the presence of what you need. He's going to bring you toward it. You're not going to live in a denial that is attached to the enemy. You're going to live in a comfort that allows the one who knows to guide you toward what it is he's leading you toward. That's not denial. What that is the initiation of favor in your life against your anxiety, against your stress, against what it is that's telling you to doubt and quit. It is his ability to protect you from what otherwise you would do to harm you in the presence of great stress and strain. This is what I've understood. I don't know how much of this has to do with me ministering to the camera, praying for others. I don't know how much you have to do, if anything at all, but I'm telling you what he's done for me. And I'm telling you, I ain't never had that happen before in my life. Them thoughts have always got in. These thoughts have always been there. Whatever negativity, whatever convincing nonsense that allow me to stay in the house, allow me to stay away from loved ones, allow me to stay away from everything, allow me to feel weak and fall into weak conditioning, allow me not to find solutions for problems and suffer in those problems. All these different thoughts that allow me to develop in the way that I have. As of the last 7 days, the Lord has just simply not let them in. And I know it's him because I don't feel like I'm consciously blocking those thoughts out at all. If anything, my mind is initiating those thoughts and he's stopping them. My consciousness, like I'm speaking to you, be like, man, it ain't. Because that's what it naturally does. And then it doesn't manifest, y'all. The words just don't actually finish. And so that's what I'm here to tell y'all, man. God is doing things in my head that is allowing me to cope with my situation, address my problems, and dare I say, provide solutions. Just walk down the street. There's the U-Haul place. An unexpected comfort's going to come out of nowhere. Here comes the cat. Like, these things are like, he's going to help if you turn to him to the best of your ability. Turn away from sin to the best of your ability. And ask him to carry you and coach you throughout the process. Hey, look, Lord, I'm not comfortable right now. I'm used to doing things a certain way. I'm used to having a certain security about my life. I'm used to not doing things the right way. So I got comfortable doing things the wrong way. I got comfortable not paying my rent. I got comfortable laying in the house not talking to nobody. I got comfortable not getting no sunlight on my skin. These are comforts that make it so that my sentiment in life is feeling good that I engage in this bad way. But that's godlessness, Lord. And I know that conditioning holds me no weight. I know it leaves me in a space where I'm in debt and I can't keep an apartment and I can't keep a job and I can't, all these different can'ts that come from that energy of comfort that I would truly welcome because I'm used to it and because I like being used to it because it made me feel comfortable. And it's just a vicious cycle that isn't real. It ain't real. It doesn't align with what I'm capable of doing in life. It doesn't align with what it is I need. It don't align with what I want. It don't align with my prayers for myself and others. It don't align with anything that my mother taught me, my father wanted for me, my grandfather wants for me, my uncle wants for me, my sister wants for me. It don't have any of those things attached to it. It just protects me in a way that it ain't actually protecting at all. It just coddles me in a space for which I cannot be nothing but a person who needs a lot and is used to not doing anything to help himself receive those things. That's all it did. Every bit of those comfortable, I can stay in the house. I don't have to go to work. Just sit and wait. It's nothing. Oh, this is enough. All of that energy just makes you weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker till there's not much of you left. So you think I want to hold on to those comfort zones just because they're still comfortable? I don't. I think those things hurt me. I think those things are going to coerce me into another 10 years of nothingness. It's going to lead me all the way to a space where I can't even have the strength to do what I need to do, the physical energy to even do it. All my youthfulness will be gone if I keep on that path. And of course I'm going to welcome that path because it makes me comfortable. It keeps me from having to do anything I want to do. And most importantly, it keeps me from having to hold myself accountable to God. And since I don't see before that all of the beautiful things that God does when I let him in, I still look at God as the same way that the world taught me to. Weak. I'm turning to God, you weak. I listen to so many rap songs. They talking about, hey, man, if you scared, go to church. In other words, if you're not willing to engage in the destruction that we're a part of, then go to the weak side of things and find God. You know that's enemy. Because the enemy, it was created by God too. The enemy is trying to survive too. There's all types of different variables the enemy is not necessarily in control of. So he has to suggest these things to you. God holds no weight. Get God out of the schools. Find a way to equate God with a lack of compassion for groups that are not your own. All these different things that are meant to deter non-believers from being in line with God, and thus being able to open up these doors and be these variables and take on these relaxation and block out those thoughts and all these different things that God really does, including for the people who are telling you to stay away from God. They're none wiser to how thankful they will be for him liberating them from comfort zones that mean them no good. The blind leading the blind off a cliff. Very happy about it, none the wiser to what the Lord really wants to do for them, through them, for others. So that's all I got, man. That's my thought. I think that it's so important that we understand these things because no matter where we are in life, no matter what generation it is, this is going to be how it goes. No matter what planet we end up finding ourselves on, a combination of planets, however we zoom all the way out to our best evolution, we're still going to be dealing with these energies. Because bodies evolve. Energies and spirits, they're kind of just what they are. So no matter what these circumstances, how complicated they are, they're going to be the exact same formula 3,000 years from now for the people living then. They're going to have to apply faith. They're going to have to trust God. They're going to have to understand that they are not psychics, that they don't know what happens next, but that the God that I'm praying for in this day is the same God that's going to get them through the same problems if they reemerge in their lives as they've emerged in mine. You may have a situation where you ain't going to know where to stay. You may have a situation where somebody just ain't going to come through for you. You think these scenarios change? They're never going to change. It may be more high, technology. It may be different quarters. We may build all the way up into the sky. Every building is like a skyscraper or something. Who knows? But the point is you still have the same scenarios. You're going to still need to turn to God for what it is you don't know. You're still going to need him to let people, do what it is that they do, whether they come through for you or not, so you can keep your energy right. It's always going to be a need to lean in on the truth, the future teller that is God. He could tell you the future. He's creating it. But he chooses not to because it's probably within his timing and his favor that you don't know, that you apply that faith. You think about all the things that you would prevent if the Lord were to tell you exactly what he's doing. All the things that you're afraid of having happen. All the different things that you would just not do if you knew how bad it can and will get to test you to be better, for which you will welcome later on. But while you're going through it, you definitely ain't going to welcome it, and you need it. He can't let you know what's going to happen because there's a lot of that going on. Look at all the tragedies that have taken place. You know what people would have done to prevent those things from happening? You would have messed up everything. People would have destroyed the world to keep themselves from going through pain. You can't know what's coming. But that you have a God that does, that continues over and over again to prove himself not only in the eyes of me, but in the eyes of many others if you're listening. You trust that he's not telling you the future for a very good reason, and you also trust that he will align you with that future for his own reasons. And if you have him attached to you, you're going to be fine in the presence of whatever that may be. You think about people who are going through the worst of agonies. I think about a mother who lost her son. She's still praying. She's living in agony. I want to help. I want the Lord to give me a variable that make her living a little better. That's what I'm talking about. There's a lady who lost her son. He's missing. He's been missing for a year. I saw her post and I reposted it. She's calling on all 50 states for her birthday. She just wants some closure for a boy. I wish his name would come to mind. I don't think I remember what it was, but that's not the point. I think of her. How she endures what she's going through and what she would have done if she would have knew what was coming. How she would have tried to take it upon herself in any way to keep herself from feeling the agony that she's going through right now. It's the type of stuff that could destroy the whole world, friends. You can't know what's coming, but you can trust the God that is. He may have it so that you're living that life, and I don't want that for you. I don't know why he does that to people. I don't understand that. But the only thing I can tell you is that he is a gracious and awesome God. And I'm praying that he can find a variable in place to heal all the minds of those who have that emptiness of missing people. Who just have to live in sadness every day. The enemy could use them people in ways he can't use most of us because of their agony. And that's why it's important we stay close to those people. That's why we pray those people up. That's why you take them under your wing and you give them as much good energy as you possibly can. You give them as many breaks and as many passes as you possibly can. I think about my friend who's gone through what she's gone through recently. Tragedy, what she's gone through. And then I think about maybe where her head is and why things aren't necessarily, her communication ain't where it needs to be with me or whatever. Who cares about me? That the Lord put her through something every time I speak to her. My energy got to be right. That's my responsibility now, knowing what she's been through. I can't be sitting up here saying where you've been for me when I know what type of pain she's going through. Now, it's because of the Lord's in my heart. It's because I went to the Lord so close during these difficult times that he allowed me to think of others when I'm going through what I'm going through. Otherwise, my natural mind would have had me wondering why people ain't come to me with where you ain't coming through for me. Because that's my natural inclination. Selfish, self-centered. Mommy always gave me what I wanted. You know what I mean? Why you ain't here for me? But the Lord has opened my heart to understand they are. They just got to make sure their energy isn't a deterrent to what it is that I need. If the Lord keeps them away from me, chances are they need to be. And so when you go with the flow of the Lord, you just say, okay, Lord, well, I don't have to focus on why they're not doing for me. That's a reflection of what it is that you have going on in their lives. Maybe if they don't show up the right way, maybe it's just a poor reflection on their character. That's not necessarily my judgment to apply to them, because I can think about things about my character that ain't no good, including the fact that I found myself in this position in the first place. So who am I to try to look or put forth a judgment or try to put a label on or whatever, or try to be a psychic in regards to what I don't know about somebody else's situation and think that because I'm not getting what I'm supposed to get that I'm entitled to doing something that, None of that is of God. None of that's going to help him open up the variables that allow for the best of things to come through. All you're going to do is sharpen a knife for the enemy. That's it. And so that's what he's helped me understand. Hey, you're going to have what you need because you come to the right place. You're going to be okay because there's nothing I'm not willing to do for those who are okay with me. And if you have to go through some agony, I'll be there for you too. Who's to say that we won't find her son? Maybe they'll give her that closure she needs now that we putting this prayer in the air. Maybe you'll see that post and you'll be the person that had seen him last week. That's like, I don't know how this works, but I do know that her agony just is an awesome God somewhere out there, man. He really is merciful. He comes through. He will give you back things tenfold for what it is he took from you. And we just got to trust him. Where you at in your current day, that ain't the end of the story. It ain't forever because none of us are future tellers. For all I know, that lady's going to find something that's going to make her happy for the rest of her life starting tomorrow. My understanding lets me think, Lord, why you let her stay in agony? He's like, man, you can't see what I'm going to do for her tomorrow. Lord, why you let her stay in that space? You know she ain't found her son. What's she going to do? Well, what am I going to do is what you need to ask, Brandon. What's the Lord doing? Maybe there's some variables in place that you don't know about that makes that story a lot different than what it actually is being presented to be. You don't have those understandings. You just got to apply that prayer to me and ask for him, ask for the God to help that person with what they got going on. I think about how we look at celebrities and say, oh, they sacrifice, everything is sacrifice. There's always some person in place online telling you that every time someone who's famous goes through any type of bereavement that they need to be attacked for it. Now, I'm not saying that there ain't no such thing as evil rituals and sacrifices and stuff like that, but that formula is in place. That needs to be applied to every celebrity that ever goes through something like that. Don't you see how that's not a good variable? Even if it does have an application of such, don't you see how you're determined to the happiness and the healing of those people? If for some reason you're wrong about what it is you're applying. And that's the point, because a lot of us think we're future tellers. Or because there was a formula there, everybody's like, oh, because a black person robbed me, every black person robs everybody. And no, you're not a future teller. You don't know nothing about that. You know what happened to you. You know what came at you. And you know what the Lord is trying to help you through. And you know what the enemy's trying to get you to think while this is happening. So you're going to turn your vitriol toward everybody that looks like the person that did what to you. Now you're going to be a sharp sword for everybody that hates those people. And the enemy only did that so that you would become that. For no other reason. And so that's the point. It's like we got to stop thinking we know what we're looking at just because we have a mind that we trust. Your mind is only going to know what it knows, man. You don't have every variable. You don't know what's coming out of your blind spot. You can't see what's going on. Or you don't know what's going on in that person head across the street and how that's going to affect what it is that goes on with you. It's possible. You don't know what the heck. Variables. I remember seeing a picture of just a family at Disneyland back in like the 80s. One of the babies in the stroller ultimately ended up married to another baby who was in a stroller walking down the other way. They ended up seeing the family picture and recognized themselves in the picture and their families in the picture. They went viral. Like, you don't know what God is going to do, man. You don't know how he's connecting you by way of your lives and your numbers. You don't know who you walk past who's going to ultimately be something for later. I think about my grandson who ain't even here and how he might end up being enemies with one of my best friend's sons and they never even knew me and my homie was friends, that kind of thing. But life can make it so that they don't love each other. Like, you just don't know, man. And that's why your energy just got to be right. You can't pretend you know what the Lord's going to do. You don't know. You just got to trust that he's moving you in the right direction. You got to trust that there's a tomorrow for your circumstance, that your agony. If you turn to the right place, he can make you deal with it. If you turn to the right place, he can help you heal. He can keep those thoughts out of your head. He can make you stand in those impossible circumstances where you just can't do nothing. You don't know nothing. You can't figure it out. Just like I'm in right now. I'm in that right now. in my own way, I don't know what the heck. I can't, if I go to my natural mind, man, I'm going to start getting real depressed. If I start going to what my head usually does, I'm going to try to do everything I can to keep from letting this happen. It ain't going to be good. It's going to be whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be holding people accountable for stuff that ain't nothing to do with, man, not considering nothing that has to do with anything outside of my circumstance because of desperation. That whole, if you're drowning and somebody come to save you, use them as a buoy, drown them to keep your body up. You don't even mean to, but you just scrambling around for your own self because you're desperation. We're not in water. I'm not drowning. There's no reason to do that. There's no need to do that. Lord can open up a million variables for me, man. And as long as I stay close to him, he's going to put me in a position to do the best I can, to get the best possible outcome out of these days I'm in. Maybe I don't get the apartment, but you know what else is possible? Maybe my channel blows up at the same time. And I'm sitting out here thinking that my content ain't doing nothing. It's reaching the right people right now. All this time I've been thinking, putting in these entries, and it's coming to nothing. You don't know when. You have no idea. It's just like my friend B told me. You don't know when the right person is going to hear what you said and be inspired to do something different, or be inspired to invest in you, or be inspired to invest in your family member because they heard something you said. And that type of thing is possible, man. And so I stay close to the Lord. I ask that he open up those doors. I'm not sitting here in this space because I want to stay this way anymore. I'm sitting in this space because I'm used to it, and I'm asking the Lord to help me transition out of these spaces. Any of these comfort zones don't mean me no good, man. I want to move on. I want to be a good variable, not a sharp sword for the enemy. Anytime I feel like the Lord ain't coming through for me, or maybe somebody ain't do what they were supposed to do or whatever, I got to remember when I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I got to look back on when my energy was bad. I got to look back when I was engaging in demonic energy and understand that there's a payback for that, and maybe it's coming now. But if I stay close to the Lord, he'll allow me to endure it, get past it. All them negative thoughts that help me endure it the wrong way won't come in, and we'll get past this, paying the toll like it won't be much of nothing. Yeah, it was meant to harm you only if you engage in the wrong energy. You stay close to God, he'll pull you through that storm quicker than you ever thought. By the time you realize you were in the storm, you're already out of it. It's your perception that he attaches himself to. It's your protection that he intends when you go through darkest times. And maybe you felt weak. We talk about it all the time. Maybe you felt weak. Maybe this time you just went the wrong way. Maybe the enemy got a hold of you this time. Maybe you just were so broken. And he just said, hey, man, I got $1 for you. And you just say, all right, man, forget it. Okay, now you took the wrong dollar for sure. And it's going to do some things. But listen to me. God knows why you took that dollar. God knows why you fell into that weak space. And he's just waiting for you to turn to him. He's just waiting for you to turn to him. And when you do, he'll take that dollar, rip it up, take that enemy that gave it to you, throw him in hell, and take you into a space where none of that even is relevant anymore. But if you sit there, take the punishment from taking the dollar, and then proceed to wage war against the Lord, well, then he ain't going to be able to do none of that for you. And you're going to take on the brunt of those circumstances. And it's going to feel worse, and you ain't going to have no protection for those thoughts. They are going to come in, and you are going to turn into whatever it is it turns you into. None of that has to be the case. You control your energy, keep it toward the Lord. None of that has to be the case if you realize that he can do for you outside of what it is that you think should be coming your way. That person ain't come through, but another person that you don't see is going to come through. Because that's how God works. He's a variable that can bring many things to you in many different ways. You ain't got to suffer. He can bring that cat out of nowhere. You see what I'm saying? He can make that U-Haul place pop up in the direction he told you to walk. You ain't got to stress over it or go into your phone godlessly and try to find what you need only for the enemy to attack you, because you know that's what he's going to do. You go in without God, he's going to throw every imp at you. Pray first. Let him ease your mind. Let him ease your heart. Let him come in and undo some of the nonsense that's been influenced upon you by evil energies meant to coerce you into bad spaces. Let him come in. Let him get a taste of what it is that you're actually about as you're going forward, trying to make the best for yourself without a manual in this life. You didn't have a manual. You're not supposed to know how this works. But that you have the faith in him and the love for him will guide you through the unknown. So that's the faith I'm applying. I don't know what's coming. I don't see nothing coming, But the faith in me, the undoubtable, undeniable faith, tells me that it's not about what's coming my way. It's about who is sending it and how focused I am on him the entire way. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching.